Welcome to Backpacktrack, the solo travel podcast for people who think one backpack is a lifestyle. Welcome to Backpacktrack, the solo travel podcast for people who think one backpack is a lifestyle.
Welcome back to the Hekaya Haven podcast. We're in March, and you know what that means? It's Women's Month. And throughout this month, I want to attempt something special on the podcast by highlighting women's stories and experiences back to back. So we're in for a lovely, lovely ride because if you know me, you know I love to talk everything womanhood. And to kick off this little mini series is a lovely lady from Germany whose life quite literally fits into a backpack. She is the voice behind the podcast Backpacktrack, where she shares very honest stories about solo travel, living abroad, and figuring life out along the way. That is just a small teaser of who she is. So let me allow her to introduce herself properly. Welcome.
Hi, Hekaya. Thank you so much to be here on the podcast. And yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Mills. I'm traveling around the world. And yeah, recently I've been stuck in Japan. It's like literally a lovely country. But other than that, I love traveling around the globe. And as you said, literally my whole life is fitting, yeah, in a little bit too big backpack. But yeah, it's been great fun. And yeah, you experience the challenges of traveling solo, and you also see the joy and the beauty of the world. And yeah, it's really great to be here, and thank you so much.
Welcome so much. Welcome, Mills. It's great to have you. You're such a joy to be with. And to kick off the conversation, I want us to start from the beginning so that our audience can get a bit of a background of who you are. So let's start from the beginning. You finished university, which for most people is a moment where life suddenly becomes very structured. The job, the career, the going up the corporate ladder, the 5 year plan. But instead, for you, you decided 95, that's not for me. And you booked a one-way ticket to New Zealand, right? So take me back to that moment. Is this something you had been thinking about for a long time, or is it one of those moments where you simply said, "Okay, I'm doing this"? Take me back there.
Yeah, actually, it's really funny. So, after university, like literally everyone was, yeah, going to a great job and all this stuff. And I felt like I've been already working while studying, and I felt like, yeah, I miss something in my life and I want to see the world. And the idea came actually super spontaneously. So I think within a month, I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna go on travels. And as a kid or as a teenager, I always wanted to work on a farm. And I don't know why, but for me in my head, like there was a connection of New Zealand and farm working. So yeah, I just booked a one-way ticket, got my visa, and yeah, I was actually like super nervous because I didn't plan anything. I'm not such a big planner. I like to do stuff spontaneously. I mean, also because I'm actually lazy. So I just went to New Zealand and yeah, experienced their life, work, and travel for 4.5 months. And it was literally the best decision in my life I've ever had.
Awesome. You wanted to work in a farm. That is so interesting. What was drawing you to the farm life?
Oh yeah, well, I think farm life, like I've been to four different farms and it was actually quite funny. So from one farm where I was like planting thousands of vegetables to farms where I just took care of dogs. And the last farm I think I went, they also had like all these typical farming stuff like painting the woods and yeah, vegetable growing. Not so like also they had a lot of sheep, so taking care of them. But I think the most impressive thing about the last farm was actually that they also had a flying school, so for airplanes. And yeah, by coincidence, I was allowed to fly with them. So it were great memories, great joy. So yeah, really fun. So not the typical work, like what you always have in mind, like farm work, super exhausting. Like, no, it was voluntarily based and it was always something around 4 to 6 hours a day for free food and accommodation. And that was such a great experience because you're literally part of the families.
That is so interesting and so amazing. Like growing your own food is such a big deal. Oh, okay. Adventure seems to have started early for you, Mels.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Like, yeah, I love it. I mean, honestly, I personally think you should start traveling as soon as possible. Like, the younger you are, the better it is because I think you learn so much, you grow so much, and you know get to know yourself better. And I think you can only really learn so much about life when you go abroad solo. I don't know, but that's just my opinion. And I kind of regret that I started that late with 24 back in the times.
24 is so early. Oh my God. 24 is so early. It's, I think, the best time, for real, for real. And now, speaking of you, we're going to obviously talk about solo travel. But before we move on, what did your family or people closest to you think or say, or what was their reaction after you said, you know what, I'm booking a one-way ticket?
I think honestly, most of my friends felt like, okay, you're crazy. Like, why would you do that now? I mean, in Germany, we're basically all really drilled to really finish university and then get a good job, and that's basically it. So they were all excited to start this new life, but I felt like, you know what? No, let's go traveling. And yeah, my parents, they were like, yeah, they were supportive, but they were also a little bit like worried because, of course, when you're a woman, when you're alone, and I'm really not an organized person, they had like a little bit of doubts that I will make it.
And here you are, making it, thriving in it. That's amazing. Eventually, your journey then leads you to Japan. And Japan is such an interesting place culturally, and it's incredibly modern, but also in the same breath, I feel like it's deeply traditional in so many other ways. So I'm very curious about why Japan.
Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know, like I think it all came back down like to my teenage time. I like to read mangas and watch anime. So, I think pretty basic. Everyone knows Pokemon or I don't know, Digimon, something like this. And I think ultimately it was because of my ex-boyfriend because he lived already in Japan and it sounded so great. So, we went on a trip there. It's like 7 years ago, and once I was there, I just fell in love with the country. Like, the culture is so different, and the people are so incredibly nice. And because of that, I returned another time to Japan and traveled here for 6 months. And now, ultimately, I'm living here since a year already, studying Japanese language. And I don't know, there's always like, sometimes you have just this connection to a country which always draws you back. And I think for me, that's kind of Japan.
Oh, really? So, how long have you been in Japan?
So I came here actually a month ago. Like, sorry, not a month, a year ago. I came here a year ago. So, yeah, the end of March 2025, I started coming here and started studying the language. And yeah, time flies. So now it's almost a year later.
That's absolutely fascinating. What are your first impressions? What about Japan? I have heard you talk about your fascination with the toilets in Japan.
Oh yeah, I mean the toilets are great. Literally, like I mean, a lot of people love the bidet version, but where you can clean your intimacy stuff. But I personally love like just the heated toilet seats because especially in the winter, I think it's the most lovely gadget you can have because it's so freaking cold because we only heat here with our ACs and they have like the heating version. So the rooms are not super warm, I'd say. But then when especially during the night when it's cold and you sit on a heated seat, oh my gosh, it's literally the best.
Okay. Yeah. So apart from the toilets that fascinate you, what are other things that fascinate you? Everyday things really in Japan.
I think the best or the craziest thing about Japan is how friendly people are and how much they follow their rules. I mean, it's kind of funny because I don't know where this is coming from, but the typical stereotype of a German person is like they love to follow the rules. But I always think, no, that's not that true. Like, go to Japan, there you see it. And I think the best example I can pull off here was I was walking for the first time, like in Japan, it was 7 years ago, and I saw a long queue at a bus stop, and I felt like, what are they waiting for, huh? And they're just queuing up to enter the bus. So first comes and first enters the bus. And I was not used to that, and I felt like, wow, that's crazy organized. And also now when I go on the train during rush hours, is it's so quiet. When you're like sneezing, it's like, oh my gosh, you disturb the silence. It's kind of crazy how much people care for each other and try to not disturb anyone. That's kind of impressive.
Lovely. I mean, yeah, the stereotype about Germans is for real, for real. About how structured you guys are, and actually, I have I've worked with them, but I have not met a bubbly one like you. To be very fair.
Oh, I take that as a compliment. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's oh Japan. Yeah. Anyway, you've mentioned language that you're doing language classes, I think.
Yes.
How has it been navigating that? And I know language barrier can be such a big issue when traveling abroad. How has it been so far?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like language barriers, yeah, difficult. But I think the good thing about these, yeah, the age of technology is really nice for Google Translate. So not much of a problem. But speaking of Japanese language, I definitely underestimated how hard it is. So I've learned a little bit by myself, and when you see these funny YouTube videos or Instagram videos, it seems so easy, and you feel like, I can do it too. And I said to myself, yeah, within a year, I will be fluent. And yeah, now it's been a year, and I know I'm very far away from fluent. But the good thing here is in Japan, the minute when you try to speak Japanese, even though it's very broken and it's not really good, people are super excited that you show the effort and that you try to learn Japanese. And I think it's kind of cute. Also, like just in terms of Japanese language, you only speak it in Japan. It's not like Spanish or French or English where you can use the language in different countries, but yeah, with Japanese language you really only speak it in Japan, and I think a lot of people appreciate all the effort you put in just to communicate, and that's just super nice to see that the people really feel happy that you appreciate the language.
Absolutely. When you're talking about how excited Japanese are when you speak their language, it reminds me of my home country, Kenya, where I am. That I also see so many because we predominantly speak Swahili. So when foreigners come to visit our country and they say things like jambo, jambo just basically means hi, or karibu sana, which is a welcome. I see how excited the people are that you're also putting in some effort, and it's beautiful to witness. But I think there are other cultures where when you try to speak the language, they do not appreciate it. They're like they speak. I have seen the French people being a bit, you know. The French people, you try to go bonjour, comment ça va, and they just speak in English to you. They're like, nah, stop butchering our language, you know?
Oh yeah. I realized that too. Like I experienced that too. But yeah, I don't know. But it's funny that we thought about the same country.
Oh, you thought about France as well?
Yeah. Yeah, also like I mean, France is pretty close to Germany, obviously, and yeah, I've met some French people, and I learned French in school, and I mean, my French is really horrible. I mean, I can understand why French people get mad at me when I try to speak, but yeah, it's just so different. Like here, as I said, the Japanese people, they're so excited, even if you just speak two words, for example, they're getting so crazy excited, and you just be like, yeah, I don't speak it.
Yeah, right. It's different cultures, I guess. I don't think I want to speak French to a native French person who knows the language really well, because I know I have an accent. I will not correctly pronounce some words, and it might throw them off. Which I'm like, yeah, yeah. Let's just speak English. Yeah. Anyway, living somewhere is you as well. You've learned your lesson.
Definitely, definitely.
Oh, French guys, we love you. We love you still. Anyway, so I was saying living somewhere is very different from simply visiting. And when you stay long enough in a place, you start to notice the small cultural codes. And I think you've spoken about their organization, how quiet they are, and how well they follow rules. What has it been like integrating into the Japanese culture really on a broader scale? And what are some of the cultural habits or social norms that took you some time to understand?
So I would say, I mean, especially nowadays, there is a huge hype about Japan, that Japan is great and all the things. And I totally agree with it, but this is the thing. Once you start living here, you realize, yeah, it's not as easy and just beautiful as you see it on social media. Like, for example, I personally think it's really hard to connect with Japanese people unless they're drunk. Sounds a little bit weird right now, but Japanese people tend to be very, very shy, and especially when you're a foreigner and you try to speak Japanese to them, they're just shy. I mean, I get it. Maybe it's the looks or the language barrier, or they're afraid of making mistakes. I totally get it. But even though if you're like perfect in Japanese, it takes really a lot of time until they really open up. And usually you go to an izakaya, so a place where you eat a lot and drink a lot of alcohol, and then people open up. But this is like a thing which I think it's a little bit harder. So when you're just traveling, you meet friendly people, but you don't really spend a lot of time with them because you're just traveling and you're maybe going with friends or family. But once you're living here and you have to make friends in order not to be alone, you realize, yeah, it's a little harder to connect to Japanese people than to other foreigners.
Okay. Oh, that's new. That's very interesting. Also, now like looking on a broader perspective about traveling and the loneliness. Would you want to speak about that, the loneliness of travel? Because I've seen people talk of dating while traveling, making friends, you meet, you connect over a month, and then you have to leave to another country. How has your experience been?
Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, at the beginning, when I started solo traveling and I was a total beginner, after a month, I literally questioned myself, hey, why am I doing that? I feel lonely. But then I gave it a chance, and also I met one girl, and maybe it was just meant to be. Maybe it was a sign from universe, I don't know, but then she invited me to a group and we traveled like four people. We traveled for a longer time, and then I realized, hey, you just need to be open and yeah, just not be shy, just go towards people, invite them, talk to them, and don't wait that you get invited. And I also realized, or I just, let's say it like this, like usually I want to keep friends for longer, that you have like a great time. But solo traveling taught me actually that you can have the greatest experience with people and you will never see them in your life again. And I think when you think in chapters like, hey, this was a nice chapter, but it's closed, and I'm open to meet new people, go to events, go to share houses, go to hostels, I think then you can deal with loneliness pretty good.
I love what you've said about, and I think I've seen it on your blog as well, what you've said about life being experienced in chapters and not basically one long, rigid path that is structured and has to go this way. But I am a sucker for great community and breaking bonds with people I have bonded with like for a month or two. Oh my God, that makes me heartbroken. But yeah, I see what you mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like honestly, like especially one farm, like I love the people there and they treated me like literally their daughter and it was a big family. I was crying so hard when I left them, but yeah, the memories are still there and it was an awesome time and yeah, I think that's just life. It goes on. So yeah.
And do you find yourself now, because do you find yourself like being very present in the experience when it's happening because you're used to, or you have an understanding that this experience could end and we could be like bye bye and never see each other again? Has that changed the way you approach community, friends, you know?
I would say yes and no. I mean, it's sometimes hard to let go of people, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like I learned about myself that if you want to hold on to something, like if it's friendships or experiences, then you're not really present. You live in the past, kind of, and you're not open for new experiences. And I try to always look just forward and enjoy the present moment because otherwise you might miss a beautiful moment what's happening right now just because you're thinking like, ah, I wish my friends were here or something like this.
That's a brilliant way to look at it. Okay. When still we're talking about the culture, especially now that you've lived in Japan for a whole year, one of the things that fascinates me about travel and culture is food. You cannot speak of culture without including the food of the people because food is deeply embedded in culture and it's almost like identity, history, it's everyday life for the people who live there. Now, you are traveling as a vegan, which adds another interesting layer to the experience. So, generally speaking, what has your relationship with food been like while traveling? Has it been easy, surprising, complicated? And then, specifically in Japan, how has navigating food been as a vegan?
Oh man, difficult topic, difficult topic. I mean, a lot of people plan literally trips around food and going to the night markets and try this food and that food. And for me, to be honest, it's just surviving. Like, some countries are really nice to visit as a vegetarian or vegan. Like, back in Germany, I was actually literally 100% vegan, but when I started traveling, I said to myself, I will not make it super hard and super strict. I try to be as much vegan as possible, but if it's just vegetarian because they use, I don't know, eggs in in this food and you cannot order it without, like, okay. And yeah, for me, it's literally like there are countries like Vietnam or Thailand. I totally love it, like for vegans, vegetarians, or even Sri Lanka. Super easy, super nice. But when it comes to Japan, well, that is a different story. So I see so many recommendations of super fancy looking food, and of course, sushi is probably the most eaten thing here. But since I'm not eating fish and also no meat, like the options are super super limited. So when I go out with friends to izakayas where you can order everything and you share it, like you're sitting on a big table, everyone orders something and you share among each other. For me, it's always like, okay, I will have a bowl of rice and some pickles, and that's it. And even then, sometimes vegetable dishes are served with meat. So I honestly try to avoid going out here because if you go to special vegan restaurants, you have to pay significantly more. So here in Japan, I just started cooking every day by myself. And yeah, that's basically it. I really wish I could be like a foodie and a food blogger, but yeah, I'm unfortunately not.
Oh yeah, that was actually what I wanted to ask you. Like, have you gotten to cooking more? Because from your YouTube, which I've watched, which I will put down below, and you guys should listen to her. I've seen you talk about it. I've seen you talk about how it's survival when it comes to food for vegan people in Japan.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I really love fruits, but here fruits are so expensive. It's so crazy. And yeah, eating all the time, like honestly, at the moment I just eat literally tofu and vegetables every day. And Japanese kitchens are also very limited. Like, usually they only have a stove and that's it. And know so many dishes where you just need an oven, but usually no kitchen has it. So, yeah, you're really, really limited in what you can cook.
Okay. You you win some, you lose some. For real, for real. I'm glad you're also having other uniquely beautiful experiences apart from the food in Japan. I know I would feast on anything myself because, girl,
Oh yeah, definitely. Like honestly, I just see it when I'm going out with friends and there are so many food markets and like restaurants or these fancy looking bear-shaped ice cream or whatever. You just feel like, "Oh my gosh, like this is literally heaven. Food's paradise if you eat everything."
absolutely, absolutely. But anyway, so I would want us to broaden the conversation. We really have talked about Japan. We are doing free advertisement for Japan at this point. Um,
Like, yeah, come to Japan.
yeah. So I think solo travel has become very popular, especially among women, which I love, love, love to see because um, it's just recent that women are getting their rights, they're getting their freedom, they are thinking outside the regular marriage, motherhood, etc. However, in as much as it's great, travel can feel incredibly empowering, but it comes with a lot of conversations about safety, especially for women. So, when you first started traveling alone, did safety concerns ever sit quietly in the back of your mind? I know they have, but what was that experience like? Were there moments you thought maybe this was a slightly wild idea? Maybe I need my mom. I want to go back home. Take me home. Have you thought that?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, first of all, I also think it's incredible that more and more women are trying to travel. And also we have to say, yeah, we're privileged that we can do that because yeah, we're getting more rights. And I can just recommend it to everyone, just go for it. But of course, the safety aspect, like I would just recommend always watching or like info like get some information on the internet for the country you're going to because I didn't do any research in general. And I mean the first country I visited was New Zealand and they're like nothing happened. But I also traveled to countries like Egypt or also Sri Lanka, and there you just need to be a little bit more cautious because, like, women's rights are not there yet. So women cannot, yeah, be by themselves or travel or work, whatever. And I mean, I had one encounter where a man followed me to the beach, like from my supermarket, and he didn't let go of me. And I felt like, yeah, this is kind of dangerous, and I don't know what to do. But on the other side, nothing happened. Like, honestly, I think my number one tip is just act super crazy, scream out loud. I think then nothing will happen. But yeah, of course, there are always like these situations where you think like, oh man, was this really a good idea? Um, but yeah, luckily everything turned out in a good way so far, and I will hope it stays like that. But still, like, I just say, even though the safety aspect is there, I mean, something can happen everywhere, like in your own home country, in your own hometown. It doesn't really matter, but I think that should never be a reason to not travel at all.
Absolutely. You can be unsafe even in your own apartment building. I agree. Do you feel like looking back at when you started to travel, the first time you booked that flight and you started to travel, to the way you travel now, have you grown more confident in it? And do you feel like you have a grasp on like safety tips here and there, even though you can never be too safe? It's a very unsafe world, but do you feel a bit more confident?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, I think one of the things that shows solo traveling the most that how independent you can get within a short time, because literally you have to plan everything by yourself and you're on your own. And that also builds off obviously like confidence, and you feel like, hey, I managed this, I can do anything. I mean, of course it's also a little bit delusional, but I think when you have like confidence and you have this aura around you, people don't talk to you, and they don't like talking to you, or in the case of like, hey, they want to hurt you or they want to rub you or they want to do anything to you. Because I think when you just show that you have a strong presence, yeah, maybe you're a little bit safer. I mean, again, like, it can happen everywhere, something, but yeah, definitely you get more confident.
Delulu, you said you have to be a bit delusional, and I'm like, Delulu is the Salulu for real.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And I feel like for an unconventional path like this one you've taken, you really have to believe in yourself and like elicit a certain type of confidence. And often there is a narrative that comes up when people choose a different path. The question of, do you have a backup plan when this does not work out? When you are traveling and working outside the traditional career, um, most of the time people will ask, what happens if this doesn't work out? Should you be building a more stable CV? And I get where that is coming from, especially for somebody who has lived life in one way. They have not seen people maybe excel in a different type of path. I see where that is coming from. And it has that come up for you? And when people say that to you, what do you tell them if it has come up for you?
Oh, well, very good question. I mean, honestly, I think every time when someone goes against the big crowd, everyone is like doubting them, like, hey, what you're doing is wrong. And I think honestly, sometimes when people never leave their own country and never really, and I'm not talking here about just going on vacation to another country and yeah, live a good life. I think you really have to immerse within another culture to live, to learn and to grow. I don't have a backup plan, and I kind of love it because, what I realized with traveling, and I mean, a lot of shit happened too. You don't see it because of social media. No one really talks about the real shit, and there are things that happening, and once you get through it, you feel like, yeah, I will figure out a way. And it's kind of funny, like right now, I was feeling like, yeah, maybe it's time to leave Japan. And I sent thousands of application and I never had like anything coming back. And then out of sudden, like I got a job interview and I felt like, oh yeah, if it's meant to be, it will be. And there are so many opportunities. And I think just people who always lived in one way, so always be at home, having their corporate job, and never experience anything outside of their comfort zone. Of course, they're afraid, they're scared, like, hey, you don't know. And I mean, biologically speaking, our brains are trained for, hey, stay in stability, stay in safety, because we know everything in there, nothing can happen to you. But this is also, I personally think you build a cage for yourself, because if you're never getting curious anymore, I don't know, you just do the same thing every time, and then you get scared of people who are saying like, you know what, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I just try to figure it out myself and then let's see. And I think it's just scary for these people, to be honest. And having a backup plan, yeah, maybe it's good, but on the other side, if something does not work out, you can always go back home, like fly back home to your home country, and then you figure out something else. But there's always a way, and I wouldn't worry too much about it.
I love that. And I want to add and say one of the things that I've come to understand as I continue to adult, oh my God, adulting, is that there are no good or bad decisions. They're just decisions. And then you make a decision and put your all to see it through, really. And I love that you've you've decided to be like, yeah, this is the plan and I'm gonna see it through and I'm gonna try and let's see where it leads me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, also I think when you don't have a plan, when everything is spontaneous, it's a little bit more adventurous and exciting. I don't know. Maybe I'm just so bored with routines, but I don't know. I think it's just fun to experience something outside of the comfort box.
Absolutely. I agree. Of course, when things are not planned and everything. And we will talk about traveling at a young age. But for now, you've mentioned something about social media and about not seeing behind the scenes. Social media often makes travel look like a constant highlight reel. Beautiful places, freedom, adventure. But there are also very difficult parts that people don't talk about as much on social media. What has been like the hardest parts of traveling long term for you?
I mean, of course. I mean, thinking about social media, like, you want to show how cool your life is. But what a lot of people don't understand, I personally think that solo traveling or long time travels is not really a vacation. It's more like a journey of learning and to, yeah, get new skills and stuff. And it's not like you're just chilling at the beach and do nothing. No, I think for me, honestly, the hardest part was just like being completely by myself. And I said to myself as well, hey, don't use your phone, don't be on social media, don't read books, don't listen to music, just be with yourself, go on a hike. And then it's just crazy how many thoughts you have, or how many thoughts I had. And I felt like, wow, I never realized that, because I always distract myself. And I think a lot of people nowadays don't really know much about themselves because, yeah, distraction is just more fun, it's easier. And then at one point, all came like a big heavy rock was falling down, and I felt like, wow, my thoughts are kind of interesting, let's say it like that. And then of course you also have to deal with loneliness, and sometimes you question yourself. And of course there's also the anxiety, like, yeah, is it the right way to experience the life and getting more experiences traveling to other countries while other people building their corporate life and being like very successful in career. And of course you have like self-doubts, and I think this is the hardest part about solo traveling. But I think honestly once you get over this, Oh, you will have an amazing time.
Thank you so much for being very honest about that experience because not many people talk about like this self-doubt. And I think, as you have mentioned, we are built to consume more and not to even have a moment of sitting with our thoughts. I mean, we literally use our phones in the toilet. Oh my God, is this turning into a toilet? We have talked about toilets much on this episode. Yeah, it's part and parcel and multiple times in a day, if you think about it. Yeah. Yeah, we are so built to consume. And obviously, social media and technology plays a really big part in it because, like, even when like you're going for a morning jog and it's like a time for you to gather your thoughts to start your day, you want to listen to a podcast, you want to listen to music, you want to listen to some people. I have seen people jogging and listening to meetings for a whole hour, a recorded meeting, and I'm like, oh my God, like when do we sit still with a thought? you know? Oh my goodness, that you speak about it. One of my goals this year is to stop doom scrolling. Oh my goodness. The way you say that you have a lot of day, like the day is so long because you've not been on your screen. I was even talking to, I think I mentioned to you, oh, this episode we did with, oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. Yeah, Melissa, Melissa.
Yeah, see, this is yes. See, this is sometimes what I feel. Sometimes when I doom scroll too much, and I think we all kind of know this feeling, I feel like my memory got so worse. I'm like, what did I even watch? I forgot. It's like, ah!
Oh my God, that is so accurate. And especially right now, the state of the world, like one reel, it's about, oh yeah, they bombed children. The next reel, it's about, oh yes, we have this new beauty product. You wanna try it? The next reel is like, oh, calorie deficit. You want to eat less? You want to grow less? Then the next one is about, oh my God, it's like within 1 hour you want to go crazy, you want to have a crash out because of the amount of information you're taking in and the gravity of each. Oh yes, they kidnapped a president, and oh my God, and even like the state of the nation in our country right now, it's like, yeah, this was swept away. I was just telling you earlier about the floods that are in our country currently, and it's like, can I just feel like I want to scream after 1 hour on the internet.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to that. I always said to myself, want to stop doom scrolling, but I don't know. When I'm bored, I still click on Instagram, and then I'm like, no, no. So that's why I really appreciated like this time when I did the Fae in Thailand. That just no phone. It was just like, like a release, like a detox for body and soul.
I'm so jealous. I want to do that. I really am going to purpose on. I've tried to reduce the time I'm online, but I will purpose. Yeah, you lose memory because you're consuming so much. Anyway, I was saying Melissa talked about it. She talked about how she's shocked when she's traveling and the view is beautiful outside. Maybe she's in a train and they're going through such a beautiful view, and people don't even look up. They're all on their phones and they're texting, and others are on their laptops, they're in meetings. And it's like, what a shame that you're missing out on such a beautiful view, talking and texting to people who are not even in the room with you or on the train with you. You're missing out such an experience. So yeah, that was in relation to you saying that you are more present for your experiences. You tasted food better. You saw, like you had so much day to your day, so many hours to your day to just be
Definitely.
present.
I mean, honestly, I think this was the beauty of solo traveling. If you're really by yourself and not with friends or anyone, you're just more present because if you don't distract yourself, yeah, I mean, you need to look at your surroundings and then you see again the beauty in our world actually. It's like, man, but still, I don't know, like the phone is still sometimes very useful. But it depends on what you're using it for, right? I mean, for me, Google Maps is very, very important.
I agree. I do agree. It makes traveling easier. Google Maps, even like doing your research on like you were saying, when you traveled without researching whether this country is safer for women. I think that is something great. And I love to see women who do travel content and they're like, is Japan safe for most women? And even when we go even deeper with, is it safe for Black African women and all that? I think it's great, but also to some extent, balance and limitation. Too much of anything, really.
Yeah, agree, agree.
So I'm going to talk about something that is happening right now, and I think this is. I think last year I read about it on Forbes, and more young people, especially Gen Z, are taking breaks from traditional career paths to travel. And it's being called micro retirement. Instead of working for 40 years and then resting, people are choosing to take those breaks earlier in life. And I think this is something you mentioned earlier on when you were starting the conversation, where you said you would really recommend for people to travel now and as early as possible. And girl, you said you were late to the party. I feel like you're early. You're very on time to the party of traveling solo. And anyway, we are also seeing more women traveling solo than ever before. From your perspective, as someone living this lifestyle, what do you think is driving this shift of, I think for our parents, it was like work this job for 30 years, and then after 30 years, in our 50s and 60s, if God wills and our knees are working and our backs are not killing us, we are going to travel when we retire. So the shift now that has happened, younger people traveling, and taking, so this micro retirement, the way it's working, the way I've seen it being described, the way it's working is you do your career for maybe 2 years, and then they take a 1 year break where they just get to travel, then maybe get back into their career, and most of the time take a very unconventional path. And necessarily they don't go for careers where you're going to climb the corporate ladder. It's just they look at work as something to get by. It's just a means to the end. So yeah, what's your perspective on that?
I mean, honestly, I think it's literally the best invention they made so far because I mean, I said earlier like you should travel as early as possible and I'm just saying that because when I was 24 in New Zealand, everyone around me was like 18, 19, 20, and I felt old. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm like maybe a boomer. I forgot to take the flight earlier. But nowadays, I just think it's great if you take like breaks because let's be honest, once you wait until you get retired, I mean, maybe your mind will be like more wise and you have more money in your bank account, but your body will not be happy when you say, okay, let's go for a 20-kilometer hike. And yeah, it's only uphill. I don't think your body will do that. I mean, maybe you're super sporty. I mean, who knows? But I also think for me, for example, I'm traveling usually with 20 kilos on my back, so quite heavy. And I'm already exhausted. And I can imagine that the older you get, the harder it is. And also, when you go to share houses or in hostels, I mean, there are people like I met, like, actually, also, it was also an old German, and he was in his 70s and he still went to hostels. I found that super cool, like, cool that he want to connect with young people. But I would say the majority of people do not want to be in hostels or homestays where they have to share like a bedroom with five other people. I just assume that. And I think this is the beauty of traveling, that you get to know like a lot of other people, like their stories, their experiences. And I think it's just the best idea if you just work for 2 years, then you have like a decent amount of money in your bank account, I just say, that you can spend on traveling. You have like some nice experiences and then you go back to work. So it's still not like, this is kind of, I'd say, like having a backup plan. So you just go back to your old work, but you enjoy the beauty of traveling while having a young body and stuff. And another thing, especially in the days now, you never know how long you're gonna live. I mean, maybe World War III will happening soon. I hope not, but you never know. And I think it would be a shame if you postpone traveling to the days when you're getting old. And I read one book about the five regrets like old people have, and one of them was, yeah, I wish I've traveled more. And the truth is, yeah, you're replaceable at work. So maybe you think, oh yeah, that's so cool. I gained the corporate ladder, but the truth is, when you look back at your life and you only see, hey, I worked so hard and I never get the joy to travel, like where's the point, right? I don't know. Like for me, traveling is like so nice and work is just like the tool to do all the travel. So yeah, maybe that's just me, but I'm not that dedicated to give up my whole life just for work. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Mels, I'm with you on that one, 100%. First of all, very impressive. I have been a hiker myself. Like I think that was a chapter. That's a chapter I need to reopen actually of hiking. And I'm telling you, even hiking, because I would hike with like 5 to 7 kgs on my back. It was a lot. And I was so young, and it's required a lot. So big up, 20 kgs uphill, girl.
Oh no, not uphill. I would be dead, but I mean for just going
No,
to other
but
places, but
yeah, still that
still.
is very impressive. Downhill, uphill, because also downhill is some trouble. It's some
Oh
trouble.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say like 20 kilo is just stupid. Like that was like I learned from it. So the more I travel, the lighter my backpack gets. But this is the point, right? Like even now we're young, we still feel it. Our knees feel it. Like our body is like tired, our shoulders getting stiff. And just imagine you're like 40 years older. Like oh man.
Yeah, like I would say like the younger you are, you have the advantage of a better body. You do not have a weird hip pain. Your joints are not giving up on you. So yes, 100% I'm with you there that you're just a statistic at work and you're very replaceable. And if you exit, the company is not gonna fall apart because you exited, and also traveling expands you both mentally and culturally, and it educates you in a way. These are lessons you don't get to learn in a classroom. So the younger you are, the better. I'm very happy. The thing with Gen Z is keeps inventing new things. Recently, I saw that there is the first what is it called, homes where like you see where like old people go when they're a bit aged and they're taken care of. There is actually a Gen Z retirement. Oh yeah, they're called retirement homes. There is a Gen Z retirement homes, and so many people booked it. It was overbooked, and it's like 20-year olds booking to go to retirement homes, but it's now for Gen
Oh, yeah,
Z.
I mean, why not, right?
And I think and the argument is that so many of us are so burnt out by these careers and we keep on chasing these careers. It's not satisfactory. Capitalism down, fuck capitalism. But it makes so much sense that at a very young age we're really prioritizing our well-being, because I think that is what it is about.
I mean, honestly, I don't know how it is in Kenya, but I mean, especially in Europe, we are drilled like, hey, you have to be successful, you have to get a good job to be like worth of something, that you have value. But I think this is just like wrong. Like we've been taught like always, hey, you need to be better, stronger. And I feel like why is it not enough just to be alive and to try our best and experience a lot? And I think like especially when you travel and you see a lot of different cultures, you also realize, hey, I'm actually really privileged and happy that I can do this. But you also see like a lot of people, especially when you go to countries which are a little bit poorer, I say, you see a lot of people having really nice communities. They talk a lot with each other. They do events. They make dinner parties together and they help each other out. And they seem generally really, really happy. And what I've seen, like in Germany, for example, is everyone has so much, like the best car, the newest bag, the newest iPhone. I don't know, but still the people seem to not be happy because it's always like this stress, like, hey, you need to be better and more productive. And I think honestly we need to go back there. And when you start traveling and you experience another lifestyle, and for me, for example, I'm doing budget traveling, so I do a lot of volunteering, so I work and in return I get like free accommodation and food. And then you realize, hey, there's also something else except for this typical 9 to 5 and being super successful.
You put it so well. I feel like there is a direct correlation between capitalism and the lack of community, and therefore we become less happy people, because humans are wired towards connection and needing connections. And capitalism, I mean, if you're working 40 hours a week, you barely have time to, and maybe you're using public transport or you're stuck in traffic and you have to, it's all sums up to like spending 60 hours basically uh, for your job. Then you barely have time for connection, for friends. And it's also very expensive nowadays. I was talking about how the friendship cost has gone up in a capitalistic world, where meeting up with your friends just for dinner is costing you so much money, as opposed to like even in developing countries, like people just hang out. It's like, yeah, it's on a Wednesday, let me drop by Mel's place and let's share tea at 4 and talk and catch up, so yeah, I really agree with what you're saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. There is a such a big change, and I don't know. So for me, like traveling around, like I just realized humans everywhere are just in generally just super nice and friendly, and they want to help you out. And I think I really want to go back to this, like helping each other and having communities. And I don't know, that would be so, so nice, actually.
Absolutely. And the more you travel, the more you realize, in as much as the world, the news, and social media sells us a picture of people are so inhumane and they are the worst, and we should start wars and we should do this. In real sense, more people are kinder and more welcoming. Yeah, Mel's. we will go on and on.
Just one more quick thing about that. I read a quote recently and I think it's so true. Like if you want to see the bad of the world, then watch the news. But if you want to see the beauty of the world, you have to travel. And I think there is so much truth about it because, as we said, people in generally are actually really helpful and they try to make you feel welcome and all the stuff. So, yeah, people are good.
Definitely, I agree. You have to indulge to be able to see that. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda on our news and all that. Yeah. So let us wrap up because I know we will go on and on. So as we wrap up, give us your parting shot and let us know where we can find you online. Because as I've mentioned, she has a YouTube channel. And how is that going? How is content creation on the move going? She has a podcast. She has a podcast, she has a YouTube channel, and you can find her on Instagram. But I will let her talk more on that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like for me, YouTube creation, it just started recently. So I felt like I like talking. So I just show few more pictures and my face expressions. Like right now, you don't see it, but yeah, my face has a lot of subtitles. It's kind of funny. Sometimes it's not really helpful. But um yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I also have like a podcast on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. But I'd say, yeah, with social media, I have like this difficult relationship. So Instagram is not really super active, but my YouTube channel is called Backpacktrack. And I upload every Tuesday a new episode, and almost every Saturday I share some special things about Japan. And yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome. And I mean, I love your Instagram reels. Where you're saying you're not there frequently.
Yeah, usually, I wanted to be like, yeah, I wanted to post there also like every day or every second day. But I realized I actually don't have the time for that because I rather focus on a YouTube thing. So the Instagram is more like, hey, now I feel like doing something like this. I just create something, but it's not like on a regular base. That's just what I'm saying.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, I will leave probably your YouTube on the is it description box on podcast? I know on YouTube it's description below the episode. Anyway, that is the end of our episode today, listeners. Mel, thank you so much for sharing your story today. I really do appreciate the time. I know it's 6 hours ahead. Is it evening already? Six?
Oh yeah, now it's getting 6, but yeah. I mean, the sun is
Yeah,
still up there a little bit, but yeah, it's getting evening
yeah.
soon. But yeah, anyways, thank you so much for having me here. It was really a fun Hikaya, and yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I love conversations like this because they remind us that life does not always have to follow the most obvious script. Sometimes it begins with something as simple as a one way ticket and the curiosity to see what happens next. Thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, bye bye.